Hey, this is Michael Bohm with Youth Apologetics Training. Today we're going to keep going talking about Wicca and witchcraft and how Wiccans, different sects of Wiccans, view God. What do they believe about God? And we're just going to pick up basically where we left off yesterday, so let's just jump right in. Now, let's go back and talk about this Gerald Gardner, because there's a group that follow him, the Gardnerians, and he's the guy that wrote the Book of Shadows as well as a bunch of other books, and he's got his own view of this. He believes that the horned god is associated with nature, wilderness, sexuality, hunting, and the life cycle. But get this. Remember when we were talking at the very beginning about this supreme being, the two halves equaling a whole, the whole being called the one or the all? Well, Gardner referred to this one or the all as the prime mover. Now, I'm not donning my tinfoil hat. I just want to tell you that right now. But I do find it interesting, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I have noticed while studying the intelligent design movement that there are many who refer to God as the prime mover. I'm just saying. Intelligent design does not necessarily claim the God of the Bible. Okay, there's lots of good Christian men and women who are part of the intelligent design movement. Okay, and there's also not. There's also some people who don't want anything to do with Christianity, but they do recognize that there is some kind of big banger, if you will. There's some kind of being out there that kicked this thing off, right? And a lot of intelligent design proponents refer to this being as the prime mover. Are they part of Wiccan witchcraft? Part of this neo-paganism movement? I don't know. I have no clue. But I just thought I'd mention that. It's something to raise an eyebrow about. And perhaps all you listeners out there, we can all kind of keep an eye on these people, and maybe we'll spot some of them. I don't know. Or not. Could just be Michael Bohm with his tinfoil hat yet again. That's okay. It's good to keep an eye on people and judge them by their fruit. So anyway, let's move on. Another particular, a woman named Starhawk, I've mentioned her before. She's into permaculture magic, which is nuts. Sorry. But yeah, she refers to the goddess. She's not interested in the god at all. She is all about the goddess. She calls her the star goddess. It's convenient that she is named Starhawk. But she describes the star goddess as one who created the cosmos and is a personal goddess that you can talk to and channel, and she's worthy of worship. All right? So, yeah, again, we have some Wiccans that don't worship a god or goddess at all, others who absolutely do, some who believe that it is an impersonal force, others that believe it is a very personal force, and some that believe it's not only personal but can be channeled and communicated with. Wow! And then you have characters like this Dion Fortune. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. It might be Dion Fortune. I don't know. He says that all gods are one god, and all goddesses are one goddess. All right, are you twitching yet? Because I already am. That is that the gods and goddesses of all cultures are respectively aspects of one supernal god and goddess. So basically they're saying that with this thought in mind, or if you believe as Dion does, you can see the Hindu god Kali, the Virgin Mary, and some of these other goddess-type characters throughout the world as the same god. And likewise, you can see the male versions like Dionysus, Apollo, Yahweh, Adonis, Zeus, all these other gods, the male gods, as the same god. And just as another side note, because I'm such a good guy at rabbit trails, it kind of appears like the Masons at the highest level have this same idea. When you look at who they call God at the highest degrees, they refer to him as Jobulin. And it's kind of a composite name. It's consisting of three different deities. The Jah part of it is supposed to be the biblical God Yahweh, Jah. And Bull is supposed to be representing Baal, who is also mentioned in the Bible, not a very nice guy. And Un is referring to Osiris. So you kind of have this, almost this trinity of gods, but one God. Don't ask me where they came up with that, but that is how they refer to God at the highest degrees in Masonry. And I think there might be some similarities there. Some of the initiations to get into different degrees of a coven are very similar to the initiations that you find as you move through the ranks in the Masonic order, as you move from one degree to another. And oddly enough, and this has long since been put to a stop, but back in the day, don't ask me how long ago, I'll tell you in a different series, but back in the day, the Mormons had degrees that you could advance as well. And as you swore different blood oaths within the Mormon church, or the Church of Latter-day Saints, you would use very similar stances and words and hand gestures as you progressed through the different levels of leadership within the Mormon church. Wow. And all that from one thing I read about Dion Fortune's version of Wicca. How about them apples? I just got you way sidetracked, but that was fun. We're talking about interesting stuff, right? Anyway, and in fact, with all that chaos I just brought down, I think that's probably a good place to stop. As you can see, my point here was to give you the general idea of the one, the all, and this diunity, yeah, I just made that up, this dual aspect of God in that it was the God and Goddess that got this thing going. And then I wanted you guys to understand just how many versions and takes and aspects these neo-pagans have on their gods. And I think it illustrates quite well their stance on what is true. They have somewhat of a postmodern, ultra-tolerant view of truth that says your truth can be true as well as my truth, as well as somebody else's truth. And none of our truths are wrong, even though they completely and totally contradict each other. I think that it gives you more insight into the mindset of a witch. And again, in this endeavor to understand apologetics and try to witness to people, we need to try and reach them and understand them. Sometimes it's good just to go in and give them the gospel and forget the goofy stuff that they believe. Okay? And you got to follow the Holy Spirit in that. But there's other times when you have a friend or a family member that you just feel led not to run in there guns blazing and give them the gospel and present the fact that according to the Ten Commandments they are totally sinners. Sometimes you know you got time with this person, they're a friend or a family member, you have time, and you as a friend, a loved one, are able to talk to them and ask them about their beliefs, and then using leading questions, you're able to draw out some of the inconsistencies because you already understand what they believe. You already know, but you're using questions, you're confirming that that is in fact what they believe, and you're leading them to a conclusion that you already know you're trying to get to. You're asking good questions and leading them to an understanding of the inconsistencies of their beliefs and thus breaking down their beliefs so that you have more of an inroad to speak about why you believe what you believe. These are all apologetics tactics. There are different ways that you can share your faith, and not every witnessing encounter is going to be the same. So that's why goofy people like me exist, to help you Christians out there understand how we can share our faith and just bring the gospel to the world. Love on people and share the truth with them. Sometimes you got to reason with them. Sometimes you just got to slap down the gospel and bring them down to their needs. Some water, some plant, you know what I'm saying? And some reap. All right? Anyway, come out to the website, youthapologeticstraining.com. You can catch up with me there. And you can also hook up with me on Facebook and Twitter. I really want to get to know you guys. I want to communicate with you guys. A lot of you have contacted me in different ways. I've even been contacted by a dear brother all the way up in Canada. Roger, I love you, man. And it's just been awesome. I want to talk to you guys and get to know you, find out what you want from me and how I can help. And with that, I do love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.